United States of America has a proud history built on the selfless sacrifices of brave Marines whilst in battle, namely World War II. Most of the American generals were therefore also tough as nails and were respected by their men, as a good general should be. However, as is the case with many things in life, there are always outliers, and in this video, we'll be discussing one such outlier who should have never become a general of the American Marines, and is documented as one of the worst military leaders the US ever had in World War II. It should come as no surprise that the military is not for everybody. It requires a certain level of grit, determination and courage to go running into a hail of bullets and shrapnel to defeat an enemy that your country has a problem with. That said, for one WW2, this was seemingly not a problem. A career army man, Jay was active since 1913 and in actuality fought bravely in World War I as part of the 78th Field Artillery Regiment. Fighting nobly and surviving the entire war, Jay began climbing the ranks and got hooked on the army life, leading him to decide to remain in the service post-World War I. He received multiple promotions in this interwar period, rising all the way to the rank of Lieutenant Colonel by 1940. However, it seems by now that McKelvey had lost the flair he once possessed. He was getting older, and when he hit 50 in 1940, he most likely assumed it was easy pickings from here on out. He had served his time, experienced the horrors of war, and likely thought he was off the hook and America wouldn't consider joining the war raging in Europe at the time. As we all know, however, this was very far from the case, and when Japan attacked Pearl Harbor on the 7th of December in 1941, he knew he was going back to active duty. Just after Pearl Harbor, he was promoted to Brigadier General, with his superiors figuring that with all his combat experience, he would be able to help lead the Normandy invasion. Put in charge of the 90th Infantry Division and landing at Utah Beach, McKelvey's men didn't face as much resistance as those who landed at Omaha. However, under his command, the division still lost so many infantry that it had a replacement rate of over 100%, and this was largely due to McKelvey's indecisive leadership and an absence of any regimental or battalion headquarters that McKelvey had been tasked with setting up. Instead, McKelvey's assistant found him cowering in a ditch during an enemy bombardment and berated him until he stood up. McKelvey was consequently sacked a mere 5 days into command, which is likely the quickest replacement of any American general in the war. Although J. McKelvey did have some notable military achievements behind his name, such as the Bronze Star and Purple Heart, it obviously didn't transfer into his older age, and he seemed to have lost his wit, intellect and courage, costing many men their lives and leaving him with a stained reputation. With that said, although his command was a tragedy and one of the worst America ever saw in World War II, McKelvey was still an honourable and patriotic man that simply couldn't handle the immense pressure of the Normandy landings and led to moments of indecisiveness and cowardice. After his demotion, McKelvey continued serving with the US military until his eventual retirement in 1946. He then lived a long life up until 1985, where he passed away at the age of 95. Just before you go guys, as per usual, please do consider donating to the Patreon. Thank you to my current patrons, Charlie Cousins and Liam Richardson, for your continued support throughout these months. It really does help, especially with YouTube's current climate and demonetization with a lot of my history videos. Anyways guys, as always, thank you for watching and I hope you learned something new.